Продолжается марафон под названием «Новое духовное движение, новая религия» с названием «Боги». Эту религию, это новое духовное движение, оно должно преображать мир. Мы должны хорошо влиять, мы, те, которые в этой религии, на все человечество и даже на всю Вселенную. Добивается это разными способами. Например, удачное голодание. Есть бритарианцы, те, которые вообще не кушают. Есть медитация, есть выход души из тела, астральная проекция. Есть много чего. Исцеление на расстоянии, влияние на расстоянии. Сам становишься вибрирующей такой энергией и по закону резонанса влияешь на все человечество. В любом случае можно влиять на человечество хорошо и на всю Вселенную бесконечно. Почему боги? Потому что подразумевается, что каждый человек в этом новом движении, в этой религии стремится к идеалу, который мы называем Богом. Собирательный образ из всех религий, все самое хорошее, что есть, и мы становимся быть этим образом, то есть Богом. Мы как бы, по идее, должно быть так, что наше удачное развитие, распространение и просто наше развитие духовное, изменения в наших астральных телах, в наших душах должны привести, по идее, к тому, что и в других религиях, в других конфессиях, группах там, они тоже изменения пройдут в сторону улучшения, да, то есть как бы мы не конкуренты, мы как бы не... Наша деятельность основана на том, что мы верим и знаем, что всем может быть хорошо, и все могут хорошо развиваться, да, могут все. При этом, конечно, не идет речь о братстве религии или о какой-то суперрелигии, как бы над всем. По большому счету, каждый человек где-то свою религию находит, свой путь. Желательно самый адекватный. Вот адекватность в религиозно-духовной сфере вообще самая тяжелая вещь, которая есть на белом свете. Вот все прекрасно знают, что есть такая наука, как парапсихология. Парапсихология — собирательный образ разных религий. Медиумы, целители, маги, колдуны, экстрасенсы, шаманы, оккультисты, кто там еще есть, спириты. Они, как бы, это считается предельно тяжело, и тяжело найти объективную реальность во всем этом. Но еще тяжелее найти объективную реальность в области религии. Религия, область религии, область религиозное сознание — это еще выше, еще тяжелее найти, еще сложнее. Очень тяжело нам найти там адекватно, а уж тем более по отношению еще к свойственным особенностям, вообще-то как бы высокий уровень такой. Поэтому здесь, конечно, как бы самый большой беспредел, в принципе, происходит. Вы прекрасно знаете подвиги христианства в средние века. Средние века — это период истории примерно 500 год, ну, когда упала Римская империя восточная, до 1600 года, то есть где-то 1000 лет. Вот в этот промежуток, 1000 лет примерно истории, была инквизиция. Инквизиция могла сжечь людей, которые как бы не то что колдовство, хотя они колдунов, магов, целителей, ведьм сжигали, конечно. Они просто людей свободомыслящих сжигали. Мы прекрасно знаем из истории, что творилось в Южной и Северной Америке с индейцами, которые не принимали христианство на веру, их просто убивали. Мы знаем, конечно, что в Африке тоже как бы было сильно... Короче, идет борьба религий. Кстати, не только христианство, вообще много чего есть. Вот. Конечно, есть и аспекты положительные, не только отрицательные, но все-таки накапливается критическая масса. У нас очень ускорилось время сейчас в 21 веке. Начиная еще с середины 20 века ускорилось время. События разворачиваются быстро, люди вообще их много уже, 7 миллиардов. Появились технические средства, интернет, появилось много чего, в космос полетели. Увлекается сейчас усиленно НЛО, другими мирами, другими цивилизациями. Все это меняет очень сильно все. Естественно, и в религии не может вечно оставаться на новом месте все. Например, есть движение New Age, новые года, что-то в этом роде, не знаю, как переводится. Да, Новый год. И, значит, вот это движение, ну, попыталось, конечно, где-то 30 лет назад, 20 лет назад, она попыталась, она где-то из Калифорнии, Лос-Анджелесе, вот там, Северная Калифорния, Сан-Франциско. Но, видимо, все-таки не имеет тот успех. Я долго медитировал, анализировал, думал, пришел к выводу, что религии — это все-таки след от мощных личностей. Ну, в классическом варианте, да. В классическом варианте религия — это след от мощных личностей. И сейчас я не знаю, сейчас 21 век, может, пойдет по-другому. Я думал об этом, как пойдет наша религия, наше духовное движение. Оно все-таки может развиваться все-таки непредсказуемо, неизвестно, что там будет. Я претендую, конечно, быть теоретическим обоснователем этой религии. А вот нести за собой прямо уж это огромное количество людей, миллионы, я думаю, даже, не знаю, если будет мне по силам. Конечно, было бы по силам, если бы я начал просто жестоко голодать, спрятаться где-то в пещеру и почти не общаться с людьми. Тогда да, тогда выступил раз в году и выступил удачно, и, конечно, могу, но для этого мне надо еще дорасти, наверное. Новая религия, новое духовное движение. Почему название Боги? Ясно, потому что каждый человек в этом духовном движении своим путем, своим собственным духовным путем добьется высшего состояния, высшего просветления, высшего своего, как бы, развития, что ли. По большому счету я вас призываю к развитию. Я не призываю, вот, вступайте, записывайтесь, там, будьте последователями. Нет, я по большому счету призываю вас к хорошему, удачному развитию. В самом высоком, самом сложном, что есть, это искусство о жизни и смерти, о том, что такое Бог, откуда мы, куда идем, есть ли жизнь до рождения, после смерти. Как умереть сознательно, как сохранять сознание, как влиять на всю бесконечную Вселенную, на весь бесконечный космос, на человечество, на все живое на этой планете. Что такое НЛО, если они, как с ними вступать в контакт? Есть такие люди, которые с ними общаются, вступают, дружат и так далее. Кто такие духи? Белые, черные, добрые, злые, ангелы, не ангелы и так далее. Это предельно сложные науки, это не преподается, для этого нет университетов. Для этого есть скромные попытки в рамках каких-то конфессий, каких-то религий преподавать это дело. Но там вроде бы немножко преподается, учится, а потом стоит сам основатель этой религии. Вот, он все-таки немножко учится хорошим вещам, а потом нет, но главный все-таки Христос, но главный все-таки Кришна, но главный все-таки Будда или Мухаммед, да. То есть это, конечно, несерьезно. При всех достоинствах духовных лидеров прошлого, они были в прошлом, и все. Их время прошло. Вот. Перед нами лес и солнце, и приближающийся поезд. Примерно так, но без поезда, без железной дороги. Находятся люди, которые берут энергию от солнца, которые вообще не питаются, бритарианцы. Они стоят час после восхода солнца и час до захода, 2 часа минимум. Они впитывают энергию из солнца. Они ничего не кушают, хотите верьте, хотите нет. Вот честное слово, не кушают они ничего. Я пытаюсь это делать. Я кушаю только 2 раза в день. Утром и вечером, и то только немножко. Немножко салата сырого. А вот и поезд. Суперсовременный поезд. Для нашей Молдавии это, конечно, крутой поезд. Его недавно поставили. Он двигается до Кишинева-Локницы. Поезд Кишинев-Локница. Вот он. Красавец. Да. Супер красивый, супер современный поезд Кишинев-Локница. Нет, Локница-Кишинев. Он сейчас Кишинев двигает. Нам надо различать Успехи, которые достигает человек при удобном, то есть удачном духовном развитии, и то, что называется необычное, да. Вот, например, есть люди, которые полное голодание, потом работа с астральными телами, 7 самыми главными, он, конечно, может, то, что называется левитация, подняться в воздух. А есть и что тебя поднимает в воздух какой-то НЛО, допустим, да. Вот первое, это в результате удачного духовного развития. Второе, как бы, а что дальше сделает это НЛО с тобой, да? Сам я стал довольно чувствительным парапсихологом. Я сейчас двигался 3 километра от деревни. Здесь совсем другая энергия, другие вибрации, другие ощущения. В деревне были другие. Но мы возвращаемся в чудный мир удачного духовного развития, людей, которые вступают в контакт даже с НЛО, даже с другими душами мощными, как тот же Христос, как другие лидеры духовные, как Кутхуми, Сен-Джермен или Эль-Мория, это из Шамбалы некоторые из них. Вот мы сейчас, значит, послушаем самого первого в мире по бритарианству, по жизни без пищи, лидер бритарианцев Джасмухин. Она здесь будет касаться НЛО. Послушаем, если мы, конечно, выдержим ее, потому что я чувствительный, я не очень выдерживаю ни тех выступлений. Итак, НЛО Джасмухин, 12-й год. Давай, вперед. Фу-фу-фу.
Welcome everybody. It's 2012 at the Embassy of...
Сейчас, господа, сейчас, ждите, блин. Как говорится, мудрость надо отстрадать. Вот она, Джасмухин. Эта женщина имеет 7-8 тысяч учеников по всему миру. Она имеет Embassy of Peace, это означает правительство или консульство, или что-то в этом роде, да, консульство мира. Такая называется ее организация. Она как бы за мир, за все хорошее, за сотрудничество с космосом, за гармонизацию. Она говорит, что надо гармонизировать даже всю бесконечную Вселенную, не только Землю. То есть гармонизация, это, конечно, идеальное слово такое. Вбирает в себе все, только там надо какие-то уровни. Там надо гармонизировать в сторону улучшения. Там, ну, короче, много таких. Она вот здесь у себя в центре, видите, здесь у нее типа Новый год скоро будет, елочка. Но мы ее послушаем, мы ее чуть-чуть увидели, сейчас увидим дальше уже не ее, наверное.
Welcome everybody. It's 2012 at the Embassy of Peace, and I don't know what's happening in your world, but we're receiving a lot of emails and a lot of links to YouTube videos right now about all these UFO sightings. And so we wanted to share a little bit about this. Firstly, for many metaphysicians and meditators, this is not new. It's something we have been expecting for some time, and we knew that it would happen more throughout 2012. Secondly, it's time to relax with it all. It's no longer an attitude of the aliens coming to conquer us that Hollywood has loved to provide for very entertaining movies. The fact is that many of us have been meditating for a long time, myself nearly 40 years. And what's so interesting is that when you move the brainwave patterns from that busy beta frequency that most people operate in as we survive in this world, you meditate. You go into the alpha brainwave patterns where you're more creative, more healthy, more relaxed. Then you take it deeper into the theta brainwave patterns and even delta. Do some research on this. What actually happens is all the neural pathways in the brain configure a little differently or reveal themselves in different ways to have different capacities. Telepathy, in a visionary capacity, the revelation of internal dimensions, because every dimension exists here and is overlaid within the other. These sorts of realities do tend to reveal themselves sometimes to the awe of the meditator, the shock, the surprise of the meditator. Also too, finding ourselves in the presence of flows of energy that sometimes present themselves very beautifully as holy beings, wise beings, beings emanating such an energy that we just relax in their presence. So over the period of the last few decades, many have had inner plane, interdimensional contact with beautiful beings of great light. Now, what's this got to do with UFOs? Well, some of these beings of light, they do tend to still work with UFO craft. That's their vehicles of transportation. Sometimes they need them, often they don't. Many of these beings of vast consciousness just being in holographically. Sometimes they come with a frequency of feeling or a color or even a smell, as in the case of the beautiful Mother Mary who visits many around the world on the inner plane. So as we meditate, as we change our brainwave frequencies, as we step back more into this pure energy pool we all carry within, then all sorts of things are revealed to us, particularly the field of love. And we are entering now into a time of being asked to just step back, relax, go more into an identification process of our own baseline essence, which is an energy pulse that is giving us all life back. Stop identifying too much with our personality nature, which is uninformed sometimes and can latch on to flows of fear. Our baseline essence is incredibly loving, and what is happening now, it is revealing to us that it is a time of the blending of the worlds. All this UFO activity is just basically saying to us, we are not alone. Do not rely on the government. Forget the whole conspiracy theory. The fact is plain for everyone to see. Now, what is interesting is not only are UFO sightings being recorded around the world, but also streams of sound. People are picking this up in Europe, in Russia, in many places around the world. Sounds that sound like cosmic chanting somehow, or omning, or very interesting vibrational shifts, which are also part of the opening of the interdimensional doors so that we can merge our worlds now with purer plane energies of more advanced civilizations. It's taken us a long time, from Lemuria, from Atlantis, from times in Egypt, where our world has had the opportunity to rise permanently into a state of lasting peace, into a state of true civility. It has been prophesied that there would come a time where we would walk among angelic beings, walk among, liaise with beings of great knowledge and wisdom and light. It has been prophesied that we would have more contact with higher, more advanced civilizations, and we are talking fifth dimensional frequency and above. Beings who have solved problems we have currently in our world, who have been where we've been. And because the human heart is longing now for peace, this has collectively sent out a frequency into the interdimensional plane and has brought us under the spotlight, you could say, of worlds who are open to help us to rise into a new way of being that is the rhythm of health, happiness, and harmony. There's a lot we can do about this now. We can change our lifestyle to align ourselves more to this theta frequency brainwave pattern, and we share this with our Luscious Lifestyle program with our other videos. We also have available freely on jasmaheen.com in the Embassy of Peace page our Universal Harmonization program. Now this talks about the 57 or more different species that our world governments have already been liaising with that are representative of different extraterrestrial civilizations. Don't forget, on YouTube itself, we have Edgar Casey, not Edgar Casey, but Edgar Mitchell. Edgar Casey talked about many things too that are beneficial for us to know about this coming time. But what about the astronaut, Edgar Mitchell, and SETI, the Organization for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence? So much is there for us now to become aware of, so that we have good education and good research, so we can go into the paradigm of love now and not fear. But be aware that beyond all that, we have the inner teacher, the inner guru, the one that is allowing us to connect so beautifully with a compassionate heart with all realms of creation. And it is an energy flow of great wisdom that is there ready to guide us through these times of great transition. Remember also, we are seeing now the collapse of environmental systems that do not work for the good of planet Earth. We are seeing problems there with global warming. We are seeing the collapse of economic systems, and every system that does not operate for the good of all will crumble or be refined and changed until it does enhance this world in a beneficial way for writings. You'll notice too, governments collapsing, the world herself, the people of the world demanding a better rhythm to exist in. You will see relationships collapsing and changing. You will see many people exiting now through the diseases of cancer and other diseases because it's simply their time to move on, as sad as this may be. Some of these people also are going to clear themselves of these diseases to just show to the world that there are other ways of coming into health apart from what we already know in our traditional medical systems. So come back into health through stepping in, stepping back, relaxing back, becoming one more with that pure, perfect part of yourself. It has the answers. It can create pure health. It can create all the solutions, resolutions to conflict that we need in this world. Every answer we need to bring our world back into a new system of operation that is beneficial for all. All of this we will find when we sit in stillness, in silence, and seek to know who we really are and meditate on that pure and perfect part of ourselves. It is the time of a rising of this baseline essence we all carry within, independent of religion. Nothing to do with that. It's just simply allowing that pure, perfect part of ourselves to nourish us, to guide us, to love us, to heal us, to be the perfect guide and healer and teacher as we all have this within us now.
Закончилось ее выступление. Запомните, мои хорошие, никакой зависимости от других учителей нежелательно. Пусть он будет хоть в оси 7 пядей во лбу, да, то есть, как говорят, супер хороший, супер белый, супер честный, супер... Нежелательно, ну вот не нужно нам это. Вот сотрудничать на равных, если можно, но вот не надо зависимость. Даже от Христа не надо зависимость, от Кришны, там, Будды не надо и все. Не надо, нежелательно. Пусть он к тебе приходит, а не ты к нему. На Земле есть люди, которые не могут не делать благотворительные дела. Например, Анджелина Джоли, Брэд Питт, да и другие, их много. Мать Тереза была такая добродетельница, она не могла не помочь страждущим. Учительница из Лос-Анджелеса Чинхай тоже дарит по 50-60 тысяч долларов. Вот она даже... Это было написано там, где наводнение, где всякие несчастья. Это хорошо. Это вещи, которые мы должны, люди, с которыми мы должны взять пример. Сейчас я не спускаться глубже в долину не могу, потому что там не ловит интернет. Я сейчас в середине леса. Тот лес, который недалек от места моего отшельничества, от моей так называемой верхотуры. 4-й этаж из дерева построенный. Пока ночую там только летом. Но на 1-м этаже уже растет маленький домик из глины. Так что скоро будет все окей. Сейчас мы посмотрим на Брэда Питта и Анджелину Джоли. Хотя это мало что имеет общего, прям чисто с мастерством в духовном развитии, но все равно они приятные. приятные особы. Вот она мне. Поскорее, нет? Нет, это не серьезно. Мы послушаем разговор между самым успешным журналистом в области эзотерики, духовных практик Лилу Мас, так ее зовут, не знаю как на самом деле. Она подает себя как Лилу Мас. И, значит, Лиза Рафаэль, значит, ну мне нравится само название, Intergalactical Context. То есть духовное развитие в контексте межгалактического чего-то там, просто в межгалактическом контексте, да, вот можно так сказать. Это в любом случае круто. То есть я, например, знаю, что только в нашей галактике 400 миллиардов звезд. Ну, это только в нашей. А представьте себе между разными галактиками, да? То есть получается, что это такой самый крутой, самый высший такой, самый недоступный космос, самые далекие расстояния. Я вместе с вами сейчас первый раз послушаю эту запись. Итак, девочки, вперед. Лиза Рафаэль и Лилу Мас. Сейчас начнется, ждите немножко. Вот ворона там, видите, наверху каркает. Она живет 300 лет, а мы от силы 80.
Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lulu here. Today I'm on Kauai, on the islands of Hawaii, with this delicious lady that I just met 2 days ago. And this is actually Lisa Raphael. And it's been such a delight, such a deep connection I felt just meeting you. In your eyes is something that happened. I could see the whole multiverse. And you're definitely all about, you're an author, you're a teacher, and you really teach this profound connection, how we're becoming multidimensional being, how now it's time to realize that we are interacting. We're galactically connected, aren't we? So I want to hear all about it, because this is truly, I feel truly blessed to be sitting next to you right now, and that you're really sharing, even to a bigger scale now, all this beautiful wisdom that you have learned and be taught. And thank you, thank you.
Well, I see myself as somebody who's been gifted with the experience gradually of the opening of my consciousness, so that I can encompass now what I now can understand is that I am myself from another galaxy, from another manifestation of Earth. And it took me a while to embody that Princess from Maldek, that title of my last book. I actually had written it and published it, and had recorded and experienced the different visions from different time periods, 2012, 2024, 2056, from all different spaces and times, which were very real in my body as I was experiencing them. But it took me a while before I had the courage to say, hey, this is really me. These really are my experiences.
So what are those experiences that you had? How would you call those experiences, if we could put the general umbrella?
They are a deepening of the understanding of what our spiritual journey is. And through the visions that I received through this sort of automatic writing that happens, I think the biggest thing is that the enormity of the expanse of our spiritual evolution, of our soul evolution. It's not just many lifetimes. It's on many planets, in many galaxies. It is an infinite process. And I think that's important right now to know, because it's true that we are right now at a crucial point, and that the planet herself has a chance and an opportunity to ascend to a different dimension. And again, the information that I received, and we haven't always made it. We've been here before. We have a chance to make it now. There's some kind of astrological lineup. And it's really up to each of us, and I know that you're doing your part of that, to really clear all our internal scarring. I don't want to call it bad stuff because the scars are where you grow. One of the things that I love here and everywhere is to noticing how when you cut a piece of the tree, especially on Kauai, there's something growing immediately, practically overnight, from where that scar is. So we need to transform those wounds, not ignore them, not cover them up. You know, we're all responsible for the mess we're in as a planet. We each carry that responsibility, and so we have the responsibility to clear that in the depths of our own soul. And as we do that, we help the planet transform and make it this time.
This is quite something. You're profoundly moved by this, aren't you? I mean, you're profoundly connected on a huge galactic scale. Tell us how it feels like.
Very humbling. Very humbling. And I think that's why it's taken me a while to own my own mission. But it's really no different from everybody else's. It's just my unique part of it. And everyone is part of it. That's the other teaching. That everyone is part of it. Everybody has chosen their path. That includes those energies that are perpetrating rather negative stuff here. The energies behind the chemtrails and the destruction of the earth and so on. These souls are volunteering. These souls have volunteered to play that role. That probably because most of my life, and certainly my childhood, was so rooted in victimization and injustice and the negativity, that one of the biggest and most important transitions was owning that I have been the perpetrator in many. I've also been the perpetrator. I've been not just the victim in the concentration, I've been the God. I've not just been the person who has helped the victims of sexual abuse, of course myself and others, and of ritual torture, really horrific stuff.
You recall all of your lifetimes?
Oh goodness, I don't think that's possible.
Some of them.
I don't think that's possible.
Oh boy. Remember?
Да, ребята, надо поменять батарейку. Сейчас поменяю. Ждите уж.
That in the depths of our own soul. And as we do that, we help the planet transform and make it this time.
This is quite something. You're profoundly moved by this, aren't you? You're profoundly connected on a huge galactic scale. Tell us how it feels like.
Very humbling. Very humbling. And I think that's why it's taken me a while to own my own mission. But it's really no different from everybody else's. It's just my unique part of it. And everyone is part of it. That's the other teaching. That everyone is part of it. Everybody has chosen their path. That includes those energies that are perpetrating rather negative stuff here. The energies behind the chemtrails and the destruction of the earth and so on. These souls are volunteering. These souls have volunteered to play that role. That probably because most of my life, and certainly my childhood, was so rooted in victimization and injustice and the negativity, that one of the biggest and most important transitions was owning that I have been the perpetrator in many. I've also been the perpetrator. I've been not just the victim in the concentration, I've been the God. I've not just been the person who has helped the victims of sexual abuse, of course myself and others, and of ritual torture, really horrific stuff.
You recall all of your lifetimes?
Oh goodness, I don't think
think that's possible. Some of them, I don't think that's possible. You remember vividly some of them, don't you?
Actually, the memory for me comes in a different way. I receive, especially in this last book, I receive the memories in writing, and I feel them in my emotional body. And the one I'm referring to about being the perpetrator, this came together actually in about 2004 when I was called to Stonehenge, and I had no idea why I hadn't been out of the country, and I got a very clear vision of one of the first time I actually did get the visual. I saw myself walking across the stones to Stonehenge, and I made a very short trip. And as on my way there, I was given the information that I had been the head of a Druid cult that had been responsible for horrendous torture and sacrifice there. So I sort of had some idea that I was there for some kind of restitution. What happened is that I was very well prepared in the morning. I had arranged to have private time at dawn at the stones. Oh, I had hiking boots, everything prepared. I could see the path. And at the very beginning, I stumbled and fell and gouged a deep hole in my hand. And I was bleeding all the way there. The first thing I needed when I got to the stones on this holy mission was a Band-Aid. So I was at the altar stone and I made some prayer for restitution. Came back. The next day, I'm riding a local bus to Glastonbury. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to record. The stones gave me a chant. And I was trying to write it down because I didn't want to forget it. And I looked at my hand and I got it. I arrived at Stonehenge with blood on my hands. And when I realized that this had been a very physical, this was no accident. It was a physical, real manifestation of what I was coming there with to release. So that's one of the more powerful ones from recent times.
So each time you see that, or you're in touch with that, or you have those lifetime memories where they were what could appear more on the negative side, you release them. For you, that's an opportunity to really right there in that moment.
That was the opportunity on that occasion. I mean, they are in the process, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not actually lifetime by lifetime. It's more like lesson by lesson, as my spiritual understanding and my ability to be honest with myself. Because it's really not about forgiving anyone else. We can't forgive Hitler if we haven't forgiven Hitler within us. One of the most brave things I did after I finished my first book was to schedule a public lecture at the Holocaust Museum entitled Facing the Nazi Within. Because that's what I believe it's about. We cannot.
Останавливается смартфон. Сам Бог повелел объяснить мне вам кое-что. Сейчас мы его поставим, он заработает. Когда я вот так делаю с руками вверх, ощущение энергии космоса. То есть я ее как ощущаю? Как что-то мягкое, реальное. Дело в том, что я бы вам эти вещи не говорил бы, если бы не миллионы раз бы интересовался, читал бы и так далее. Это энергия, господа. Я чувствительный, я же говорю, что чувствую на расстоянии десятков тысяч километров. У меня есть знакомая в Америке, в Чикаго. Я чувствую иногда ее мысли. Вот. Но не в этом дело. Дело в том, что это еще называется гармонизация, это еще и называется работа с ближайшими энергиями, с ближайшими, но это уже много. Короче, у меня это происходит, как правило, ночью, утром где-то между 4 и 6. Я буквально в постели реально, зачем мне вам врать, да? реально вот лежу в постели, и вот открываются так ладони, и я держу вот так руки к бесконечному космосу вверх. Ну, полчаса могу держать, час, 2, 5. Ну, 5, конечно, слишком, ну, много держу. Как раз в это время энергия большая приходит и уходит. Вот. Эти вещи реально, когда я был в Москве, у нас был парапсихолог Мария де Альфана, ее так звали, Светлана Иосифовна Велиева. Она из Приднестровья. Она говорила, что утром от 4 до 6 большая связь с космосом. Не знаю, насколько это так. Это у нас на уровне Земли, вот утро от 4 до 6, а на уровне бесконечного космоса там, наверное, нет утра и вечера, да? Ну, пусть будет так, как она говорит. Вот. И сейчас, кстати, тоже слегка чувствую, но не так сильно. Сейчас чувствую еще и вас, господа, вас. Вы же там смотрите. А это из будущего, значит, влияние на настоящее, на мое настоящее здесь и сейчас. Но мне приятно, что я все-таки пришел к такому состоянию, что могу вам объяснить, что я делаю ночами. То есть вот так вот ладони, значит, раскрываются в сторону бесконечного космоса. Это вещь. Но мы продолжим наше межгалактической что-то там. В контексте межгалактического, наверное, духовного развития. Я думаю, что вы великие англичане и американцы. А я буду со временем, лет через 3-5. Где я сейчас поставлю? Примерно, где была. Ну, посмотрим. Вот я думаю, что здесь. Половина разговора. Посмотрим, если выдержим до конца, да? Давай, моя хорошая. Девочки, вперед. Лилумас француженка, это журналистка, она, видимо, она не на Гавайях, кстати. Тоже место мистическое, Гавайи. Там столько оккультистов, эзотериков на этих Гавайях. Я собираюсь туда когда-нибудь. Есть еще место дальше, это французская Полинезия, посмотрим еще. Или Австралия, Центральная Австралия.
What I know. And so I have to really trust the guidance and my cellular memory. So I don't have the cop out of seeing it, of seeing what these beings or who they are or where they're coming from. I just have to know and trust that knowing.
Beautiful. I know you wanted to share part of your latest book, your third book, is that right? The Princess of...
I actually shared the part about Maldek and the part about Stonehenge, as you had suggested.
Okay, wonderful.
Really, this sort of...
So that encompasses...
The parts, I think maybe the wake-up call, if it's okay. Wake-up call. It's noon on an overcast day in whatever world I'm remembering right now. There's the sound of a bell in the distance. Not a chiming bell, not an electric bell, not the siren-like sound associated with factory work. For whom does the bell toll? Wake up time. Wake up time for whom? For Bush and his gang? For the cultural creatives? For the agents in alliance with the self-serving extraterrestrial races planning a takeover? For our allies on high, unseen places on earth, in undisguised forms, in disguised forms, in the form of babies, special children, psychically talented young and not so young adults? For the metaphysicians and spiritualists and mediums playing with divination, healing, interdimensional travel? For the skeptics in government, academia, industry? The bell is ringing. For whom tolleth the bell? The call is going out to the multiverse, Lisa Raphael. Literally millions of life forms, planets, galaxies are already affected in distressing ways by the accelerating destruction of the Earth. There are meetings and conferences and special committees made of representatives of myriad different races convening all over the multiverse, meditating,
pooling consciousness resources in every imaginable way, looking for solutions other than the course being charted that is enormous destruction, with only a few, relatively speaking, moving forward in their soul's evolutionary path. These beings, these life forms, are working in a plethora of ways to assist you. Do not be concerned about what and where and with which groups they are working. Everyone devoted to the greater good, even those doing it through cults of fundamentalist religion, are playing their role. Even the apparently negative forces are volunteering to accelerate enlightenment. Remember, it's darkest before dawn. This is not some small, average dawn we are at the cusp of witnessing. This is a nuclear explosion of a dawn, and the preparation for it is necessarily one of extreme darkness. Can you find gratitude in your hearts for the souls volunteering to play the roles of those accelerating the darkness, propelling your country and the world into an abyss of debt, fear, and competition for control? These folks are part of and in service of the bell you hear ringing. Yes, it's time for you to go forth and teach the opening of the fourth eye by reading, studying, and discussing the text of your book. The bell tolls for the awakening to a world without polarities, a transcendent world, a world of joy and beauty. The overcast day of the ringing is 2024. You're surprised at the 12-year extension from 2012, the date prophesied. You do not have to believe us. Remember, believe nothing. Large numbers of humans have made it past the 2012 catastrophe. Many who prepared, who were given to prepare physically, make supplies, learn to live off the land in places protected from the effects of the multiple nuclear explosions and the concurrent ensuing climatic changes, shifts in the magnetic grid, and so on. New communities have formed, but survivor mentality prevails. Like victims of the Holocaust, sharing the experience of survival does not make each a more compassionate soul. Unresolved emotional issues have surfaced, and the survivor community in parts of the planet that have been reconstituted is experiencing the same kind of conflicts that seeded the disaster of 2012. The bell is a call to higher consciousness, to compassion, for beginning a new life here on individually empowered, cooperative, co-creative basis. Will you hear the call? Or will the gift of free will, the divine gift of free will, the compassionate, deeply compassionate gift of free will, once again be turned against you? In your fear and devastation, will you once again begin to worship the material, the leaders, the false prophets?
Oh, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, that is it.
That's the choice.
Yeah. This was the time of Bush in 2004, and in there, the best.
Ну-ну. Фух. Да. Ну ладно. Вынужденный перерыв. Фух. Есть ощущение, что я эти движения делаю под влиянием этого рассказа о межгалактиках, о далеких-далеких пространствах. Ну ведь ничего не бывает случайно. Есть, кстати, влияние из будущего в прошлое. Может быть, поэтому их разговор состоялся, что я сейчас влияю сейчас из того, что когда-то было, а потом еще вы из будущего повлияете на то, что я сейчас сделал, и то, что они сделали в прошлом. Такое тоже есть. На самом деле замечательная у них беседа, блин, действительно, это вещь. Эта женщина, что-то она мне нравится, из Гавайи. Хорошие вещи говорит. Хорошие.
Yes, it's time for you to go forth and teach the opening of the fourth eye by reading, studying, and discussing the text of your book. The bell tolls for the awakening to a world without polarities, a transcendent world, a world of joy and beauty. The overcast day of the ringing is 2024. You're surprised at the 12-year extension from 2012, the date prophesied. You do not have to believe us. Remember, believe nothing. Large numbers of humans have made it past the 2012 catastrophe. Many who prepared, who were given to prepare physically, make supplies, learn to live off the land in places protected from the effects of the multiple nuclear explosions and the concurrent ensuing climatic changes, shifts in the magnetic grid, and so on. New communities have formed, but survivor mentality prevails. Like victims of the Holocaust, sharing the experience of survival does not make each a more compassionate soul. Unresolved emotional issues have surfaced, and the survivor community in parts of the planet that have been reconstituted is experiencing the same kind of conflicts that seeded the disaster of 2012. The bell is a call to higher consciousness, to compassion, for beginning a new life here on individually empowered, cooperative, co-creative basis. Will you hear the call? Or will the gift of free will, the divine gift of free will, the compassionate, deeply compassionate gift of free will, once again be turned against you? In your fear and devastation, will you once again begin to worship the material, the leaders, the false prophets?
Oh, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, that is it.
That's the choice.
Yeah. This was the time of Bush in 2004, and in there, the message is that we are on a course of destruction. I believe that has changed. I think there has been a shift in the course. And you, my dear, with all your interviews and all your light, are a large part of it.
Thank you. And really, is there, what is, if we can, share a message or your call to action to everybody watching, if there's something really profound, or that it is all profound, but that you want to share with us moving forward.
This soul portrait behind me, which has these mysterious symbols around it, I've been given to understand that each of the symbols is a language of a different galaxy. And the one person I found who could translate it, and that's the message. It is through love that humanity will one day unite.
Love, huh?
It is through love.
But not just love, really deep love. Describe that love.
Love, as I'm talking about the compassion for all of us, all the life forms. None of this guy did this to me, or these people are conspiring this. Yeah, we need to be aware of that. We need to protect ourselves. We need to make, if you like, our own individual, interdimensional boundary so that we are not infected by all that fear and separation that's all around. That's what we can do. We protect our own field and live it. Is to live the love and the acceptance and the forgiveness. And it may not be so for other people, so I am also suffered as a victim, and there's a part of me that created the suffering, and it's all me. And I'm responsible for all of it. That's the unconditional love, if you like, the love without judgment.
Is that what you would call the ascension?
I don't understand that word. I think we are evolving, and a lot of people call this ascension. The reason I don't like the word is because it implies moving up, and I don't think it's a moving up. I think it's an expansion, and it's wherever we are in that expansion. And when you use the ascension, then we say, "Oh, I'm higher than you are," and that becomes like a hierarchy. So that's because I'm so super sensitive to that now. In my language, that the words I received in the fourth eye, the spiritual primer, is compassionate witnessing. Witnessing, being awake, having our eyes open, but with compassion for all of it, which is basically like
Да, господа. Ну, блин, смартфон. Что ж ты так? У меня ведь как происходит? Если я по-настоящему расслаблен, тогда я могу работать духовно и энергетически. Ну и энергией да. Энергия же разного уровня. Если я в напряжении, я, как правило, не могу. Вот то, что я, как говорится, обороты моих движений снижаю, это говорит о том, что начинается легкое напряжение. Ну, всякое может быть. Их же у меня... Я же связан со всей бесконечной Вселенной. Но мы все-таки попробуем послушать конец этого замечательного интервью.
So what is some of the advice that you're receiving to eschew the catastrophe that some people are predicting?
It's exactly what I'm saying. Each of us does our homework, our own individual homework, and to share the stories. Not to be afraid to share our experience on whatever level that is. Because each of us has a piece of this enormous tapestry. And not to focus on what can I do about the whole thing. You can smile at somebody. You can have a kind word. You can just look somebody who's looking miserable in the eyes with a smile. And you have done as much to transform the big picture as any of the big guys who are doing big banners. But that's some people have that role. You understand? It's like, just know that everything you do is important. Everything. And nobody's more important than the other. Some people have the mission to be, big authors and have it, okay, that's their mission. Our individual mission is simply completely know all of ourselves, forgive, love, and that opens the way to have compassion for others.
And then people get connected like we have been connected.
It's quite magical, actually. On Saturday, last week, and I hadn't put any of this out, and I woke up at 5:30 in the morning and was told I have to put out an event called the Intergalactic Forum. And I was given the date and the time. I didn't even know if it was available. And that took place last Saturday. And yesterday I walked into the small town coffee house and was given a seat next to you.
And as soon as I saw you, I knew we're designed, if I could use that word, to do this.
Yeah.
This is awesome how really everything is really coming out, and thank you for I know this is a different exercise for you, and I really appreciate that you have done that.
Well, I believe I was prepared for it by preparing for that Intergalactic Forum presentation.
Yeah.
I know now, I think that was the preparation, because I had not spoken this material publicly before. So it wasn't, thankfully, the first time I read the wake-up call. I have read it a couple of times before out loud, and I feel it now.
Is there something else that you feel that is important for us to hear?
I really think I've said the main part is to really understand that nobody is insignificant and that everybody chose their part in the giant tapestry, And it doesn't end. If the planet doesn't make it this time, if the individuals don't make it this time, we just go on and start again, or go somewhere else. We continue. The spiritual journey is an intergalactic event. It's not a one-time event. There's more than one heaven. I've also learned from my experience that our souls continue to evolve spiritually after death. I experienced that. I don't know if you have mother. Can I tell the story about my mother? My mother was an agnostic. She absolutely didn't believe any of it, and she was actually afraid of dying. After we memorialized her, 2 days later, the phone rang, and my mother was on the phone. And because I'm picking it up in the middle of the night, I said, "But you're dead." And she said, "That's what they're trying to tell me." This was definitely my mother. I could see her arguing on the other side about whether she was dead or not. Well, fast forward many years later, and I had, settled a whole lot of stuff with her. She somehow managed to get my attention through some physical symptoms. And she came to me to tell me that she could not go any further on her spiritual journey without sharing something with me for which she needed my forgiveness. And she shared with me that she had tried to abort me from the time of my conception. I had already known that, so I had no trouble with forgiving her. But from the time that she was arguing whether she was dead or not, to the time that she'd reached a place in her spiritual evolution in some other dimension, I don't try to name them because I have no idea, that she needed to do something she could never do during her lifetime, to ask me for forgiveness. This was such a gift. My mother was so guilt-ridden, I spent my lifetime trying to heal her guilt. And for her to give me that gift in another dimension, that I could help her heal that deep wound, that was such a gift for both of us. So, from my experience, I know that the journey continues. And we may be an agnostic here, but as our spiritual journey continues, we come to different spaces.
All is well.
All is well.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for the opportunity to share. And
we send you lots and lots of love and beautiful light from Kauai and Hawaii. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Что там у нас все снимает? Thank you, Лиза. Thank you вам. Ладно. В нашем распоряжении, господа, еще сколько...
Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lulu here. Today I'm on Kauai, on the islands of Hawaii with...
В нашем распоряжении еще 10 минут. В эти 10 минут я продолжу то же самое. Я поставил дальше этот же разговор где-нибудь в центре. В центре, господа, в центре. Пусть девушки Лилу Мас и Лиза говорят нам умные вещи дальше. Что-то мне нравится само понятие, межгалактические какие-то там дела.
Is the way to oneness. Again, it's not conspiracy. It's like those energies and those beings, extraterrestrial and terrestrial, who are doing actions which appear very destructive. They're also on a mission. They also think that's what's right. So it's just important to be without judgment. Certainly we're not going to choose to join in those actions. Okay, again, there's a vision in there of Maldek, as ostensibly, again, according to my writing in my body, I remember. And this is something we may try to recreate, because in this version, in this manifestation of Earth, there was absolute equality. There was a complete sharing of goods and services. And those people and energies that chose separation and fear and so on, they weren't put in prisons, they weren't put in compounds, but there was an interdimensional barrier which prevented the fear and the greed to infect the others. And then what happened is those energies were able to create a bomb which shattered the interdimensional boundary. And that's in a lot of history, and that was the shattering of the planet. What is not in the history is that as the planet shattered, our souls splintered and flew in many directions. You cannot destroy a soul. And so those of us who carry those pieces of memory, we are in different galaxies, on different planets in different parts of the world, and we are each, wherever we are, working towards recreating this paradise, this Eden, that many of us remember. And so many of us is trying to recreate now. So many, most of the people you're finding and interviewing, and all the people you're not finding and interviewing, the people who are sort of sitting on the street corner looking like they're homeless, everybody's a part of this evolution. It's it's an evolution of spirituality.
So would you say that is the planet? What is this fifth world about? Is the planet even splitting? How is this?
My understanding from the memory of Maldek that I received is,
and I just want to apologize for the sound, the background noise. This is this is natural setting. We have a little garbage truck running around and people moaning, and this is part of life.
And that's one of the things I love here is you don't have to have air conditioning. The windows are open, but you hear everything. I don't know. I just know that right now we have a chance for the planet, according to what our consciousness chooses, to evolve to the next dimension. I understand we are already in the fifth realm, because my memories are from Maldek in the fourth realm, and that's where I remember the outcome at that time, in that timeline. This timeline, we have a chance to make it. We can prevent that shattering. But whichever way it goes, each of us is going to continue in our individual spiritual journey. The plants, the animals, nothing is destroyed, it's just transformed. There's no such thing as death.
So is there something that we can do in our lives to be ready for this, or is it just by showing up?
That's what we're doing. To the extent that each of us clears our own scarring, our own wounding, finds the love and the acceptance in all of it, the gratitude, forgiveness, but not blind forgiveness, owning it and then forgiving it. Not just sort of, I forgive that and I'm not going to deal with it, right? Which a lot of people have been doing. I call it the spiritual bypass. Doesn't work. Okay. And each of us does that. And sharing our stories, sharing our experience. There isn't any formula other than that each of us embody completely what our individual mission is. And everybody's is different.
So aren't we truly becoming multidimensional now?
We're realizing that we're multidimensional. The thing that's changing is that our consciousness is expanding to accept that we are multidimensional beings. We are multidimensional souls, experiencing a very limited form in a third dimension.
So how is it for you when you get you get into different dimensions?
Итак, господа, ничто не бывает случайно. Когда смартфон останавливается, это... есть даже такая магия. Когда был сделан смартфон 10 лет назад, допустим, в Китае, да, тогда то, что сейчас происходит между нами, взаимодействовало на мысль того инженера, короче, 10 лет назад. Ну, эту магию, наверное, такие только, как я понимаю. Вот. Вот и все на сегодня. Не забудьте, что в каждую секунду вы должны быть на пределе своих положительных возможностей. Не забудьте, что этого хочет прежде всего ваша душа и ваш дух. Будьте достойны того, что видите и слышите.